Today we're going to make some shelves down here. I'm going to show you how I make my shelves. Pretty simple, pretty handy, especially for the basement. And I've made so many of them. And now, as you can see, there's a need for more because this space has become overflowing and it's just a disaster in here. So we're going to make some more. And I'm going to show you how I lay it out. Starting with OSB, I think it's 7/16. Yeah, it's 7/16. I can't believe how expensive this stuff has gotten. It's like $24 a sheet. I remember when this stuff used to be like $7, $8 a sheet. But sign of times. Now you got, your standard 48 inch width. So what you want to do is you want to rip these at 24 inches so that you get 2 shelves out of each board. So that's what's dictating the width of our shelf. Our shelf is going to be 24 inches wide. Got the 2x4s. We're going to lay out the 2x4s on the bottom. We're going to make the base frame. We're going to square it, and that's how we're going to start. The next decision you want to make is, what's your length? Do you want to keep it 8 foot, which would perfectly use these at 8 foot, or do you want to fill the space? Now the space I got to work with is I was going to go between these columns here. So roughly I'm going with 11 foot if I stretch it. And let's see, the 2x4s I got the long ones, they are 10. So I can't go the full 11, but I can go 10. And I think I might just do that because I need a lot of storage space. So instead of making them 8, I think I'm gonna make them 10. And what that means is I'm gonna have a 2 foot piece. After I rip these, there's gonna be another 2 foot section I'm gonna have to fill, which isn't a problem as long as I make sure there's a 2x4 underneath this end here to catch the seam so that you can have support. So that's how we're gonna do it. So I'm gonna clean this area up a little bit, and I'm gonna lay out the bottom, and we'll keep going. 2x4s, these are 10 footers. Always check the lengths because it doesn't mean they're all exactly the same. These ones all look pretty good at 120. So like I said, we're gonna be ripping our sheets half for 24 inch. So that means we want 24 on the outside here, which is what I got. So I got 24 on the outside. So now we need to see what the inside measurement is. And it looks about 21 and an 1/8 or 1/16. It's not really that critical, but for the sake of not wanting the boards to hang over, we're gonna go 21 and an 1/8. So we're gonna make all our cross boards 21 and an 1/8. Now what we're gonna do, I'm not a hammer and nail guy. I'm a drill and screw stuff. It saves wood from splitting, and if for some reason I need to repurpose the wood, it's easy to take stuff apart if it's just screwed together. It's really simple. Now another thing to check is the boards and whether there's a bow or not, and you can see as in this one, it's got a bow. Could be the floor, could be the board. Probably the floor. Looks like it's the floor. So we're not gonna be able to do anything about that, but pick them up. Especially when you buy them, look at them both ways, make sure they're fairly straight, because some of the stuff you get at Home Depot, it looks like a rainbow. So we're going to cut to 21 and an 1/8. We're going to lay out this bottom piece, and we'll move up from there. I know the light's a little bad, apologize for that, but it is my basement, so you just want to get them, flush. You might have to put weight on them. The first go around here, we're only going to put 1 screw in. Shoot, this bit needs to be sharpened. What the heck? Shoot, the difference in weight between these 2 drills is huge. So what we're going to do is we're going to get all 4 of these corners set, and then we're going to square this. And once we get it squared, we can lock it in with other boards in the middle. and that'll keep us. That'll keep us going. Highly recommend knee pads. Your knees will thank you at the end of the day. Shoot, I gotta find another bit. That thing is dull. Hardly even cuts through wood. Scroll pull it in. So here's what I was talking about. You gotta square this up. You always want to make sure your stuff's square. So you go from corner to corner. And we got 122¼ this way. So we're gonna go this way. And we're gonna make it. It's just about there. You know, it's only about 1/8 or 16th over, so we're going to leave it just like that. Kind of lucked out. If it's not, you know, you can stand on one edge and pound the other edge forward and get it to where you need, but you want pretty close to the same dimension on the diagonals, and that's how you square it. That's the bottom that we got set out. It ended up being about 2 foot apart, but I made sure that this one here came on an 8-foot center, because that's where that board's going to end when we rip it, and then we'll piece the rest of it together. It's a little wobbly this way, but you don't really have to worry about that, because once you put weight on it, it's going to go down, and the floor is not flat here, so it's not really a big deal. What I'm gonna make is 5 shelves. It's gonna be 5 shelves high, and it's gonna be about 83 inches, just a little bit shy of 7 foot, and that fits in this room that I get the most shelves with the ceiling space that I have in here, which I think is an 8-foot ceiling, I think. So what I'm going to do is I made this little setup. I'm going to rip all my boards now because I'm probably going to need those 2x4s. So the OSB that I got here, I'm going to set it down, we're going to mark it, and we're going to rip it. As you can see, we got it marked. I use a Sharpie. Find that's the easiest. Right in the middle of 2 foot. Got it nice and supported. We're going to just walk right down it and cut this thing right in half. You want to see where your blade's lining up because you want to cut it right on the line. As you can see, the blade's there, the mark is there. So okay, when you make sure that you're off to the side here so that you don't teeter in when you get to the end of that cut. So I got all my sheets ripped to 2 foot that I'm going to need, and you can see this one ended practically in the middle of that 2x4 I put in. And so now we're going to screw them down. These are not construction screws. It'd be kind of pointless to put a 2.5 inch screw in this because it's just 7/16 OSB, so we're going to use something a little shorter. And I noticed something curious here about, you know, the old drill to new drill. I got to switch to the Phillips bit, and I'd take out, you know, my driver bit, and I noticed I can't find anywhere on this drill to snap in this bit when I'm not using it. And I really liked that I was able to have that in there anytime I needed it and not lose it, because these things are so tiny. And maybe there is one, maybe if you have one, I'm not seeing it somewhere, it's on here, but I don't see it. Wish it was there, because I always use that. So now we're going to put this down, we're going to get this finished, then we're going to make another one just like it. And then we're going to lay it down on the floor, standing up, and it'll be the top and the bottom. We're going to put those with the 83-inch pieces, square that up, stand it up, and then we'll fill the middles in once it's standing upright. Top and bottom built. And you stand them up like this. I'm going to cut my 83s. You want to get them kind of close to being 83, which they are right now. You might have to use chairs to stand them up. You want to keep them as perpendicular to the floor as you can. You know. So going to cut the 4 83s. We're going to do up 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and then we're going to square it again this way. Alright, I don't have any help, so I lead that across there just to hold that end up while I screw this end in. And, you know, you want to get it this corner good and then shoot it right in that corner. Just one, and that'll allow the rest of it to move. So there's one end. We got to repeat it on the other end, then we'll square it up. After we square it up, we'll put the other screws in and hold it. I think we're going to be pretty close. And this isn't critical because when we stand it up, you can still adjust it. We got 148 and 3/8. And we got 148 and something came off there. Looks like it's pretty close. Probably right on the money, if not. 148 and yeah, 7/16. Close enough. So we're gonna put the second screw in each one. That'll kind of hold it a little bit. And then I'm gonna get it stood up, and we're probably gonna run a cross brace in between to kind of hold it, and then we can build off from there. Another good thing too about working with screws is if I stand this up and she's messed up for some reason, you can always take the screws out and just drill new holes. Where if you nail it, you're gonna beat it apart, and it's a lot more work. Two more on the other end. Stand this sucker up. Let's see what it looks like. This is what I was talking about. When I stood it up, it wasn't a straight square. So I was able to take out a couple screws. Actually, I took out 4 screws, so we're just one in each corner. Got it square again to the floor. Put the screws back in new holes. And then I cut this brace to go in between. We're going to run this one this way, and then in the back on the other side, we're going to run it the other way. Okay, so I got this one in and it's all square. What you want to do is you want to make sure you know that you got it going square this way. It ain't got to be perfect, but you know, close. And square pretty much going this way, which it's pretty close. You don't have to put this on the inside like I do. It looks better if you do it this way, but you have to make the miter cuts, and if you want to just run it on the outside, if you're not worried about appearances, it's a lot easier to do it on the outside, and it's also a little bit stronger because you can put like 3 or 4 screws in, where here I had to, you know, recess this screw because it starts getting so fat. I only have 2.5 inch screws, so I had to really bury that one. Had to do the same thing down at the bottom. Now if I wanted to brace it up even a little more, I could cut a little piece and, you know, cut this off and screw it in here and here, and it would help a little more. But by the time I get all the other shelves in here, it's going to lock it in pretty good. So do the same thing on the other end, and then we can start putting in the middle shelves. Okay, so because this is such a long shelf, usually at 8 foot, I only use one of these in the middle. But because this is 10, I decided to do 2. I always overbuild my stuff. People make fun of me. I don't care. No matter what you put on this thing, it ain't going to bust. Now, I'm not worried about where this is going up against the back of the wall, so these are actually behind the actual shelf. If you had to work tight to a wall, you don't have to do it like this. You could do your first shelf across and then just do spaces in between. You know what I'm saying? It would sit on top like this, and then you could toe them in like that. This is just quicker and easier for me to do it like this, and like I said, I don't care about the back. It's an unfinished wall, And you know, now we're ready to start running the shelves across. So it's basically just going to be deciding how high we want our shelves, cutting the pieces, and just going up shelf by shelf. I found that we like to use the plastic bins, and if you go about 19.5, 20 inches, that's enough for most of the like Walmart bins that they make to have room for them. So the first shelf, we're going to give 19.5 inches of space in between, and then we're going to put the 2x4 above that and run it across. Okay, so this is going to be the first shelf. Little tricks I use to hold it, since I don't have anybody to help me. I've got it marked 19.5. I already did the back. And in the back, I secured it once from here and once from the back side. That's solid in there. So this is basically it. You just keep repeating this. You know, you make your measurements how tall you want your shelves, and you lay them in. You put your cross pieces in. I was doing them like every 2 foot, making one land, make sure it ended on the 8 foot at this end for the short piece. And you know, we got 2 more to do, and that'll be it. She'll be done. We'll load her up. So there's the shelf the way I want to set it up. I plan on putting the heavier stuff at the bottom. That's why it's got the 2 supports. This last shelf here is so small. I'm going to be putting light stuff up here. I didn't really feel that it needed another one in there, so we're going to let that one float, even though it's a longer shelf. And I'm going to push back against the wall. I'm going to load it up with a bunch of crap. And you know, if you're going to do this by yourself, you know, you're looking at a solid, probably, I'd say 9 hours of work to get the thing completed. It's a little bit much, and it's unbelievable how much the cost of wood is going up with the issues going on with COVID and all that. It's just, I think it's really raised the price up of supplies. So it's not like a cheap project. You know, it does cost a little bit. You know, the 10-foot 2x4s they're almost $10 a piece. They're like 8 or 9 something each, and you need quite a few of them. But you know what you got to do. What you got to do. If you need it, you need it, and it's, you know, it's going to be way better than something you're going to buy and assemble and put up. And for that fact, you know, I'd rather do it myself. But that's pretty much it.